the executive. The committee agenda will be shown shortly. This is Bronx Community Board 7's Executive Committee meeting. As of, I guess now it's January 22nd, Mayor Adams issued Executive Order 210 extending the state of emergency through February 22nd. Accordingly, boards are able to continue to act under the state of emergency section of the video conferencing law. This allows the board to continue remotely. Minutes and video recordings will be made available on our website. If you are calling into the meeting on conference, controls are as follows. To hear all available commands, enter ** on your phone, *6 to mute or unmute yourself, *9 to virtually raise your hand. We will conduct this meeting as follows. The code of conduct is that Bronx Community Board 7 has the right to remove and or ask a member of the public to leave a meeting or block participation of anyone who engages in inappropriate conduct, including but not limited to obscene or offensive images or language, personal attacks, threats, or any other behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of the meeting. Repeated offenses will be reviewed by the board's executive committee or any other assigned committee for a ban of the participant in the event of repeated disruptive behavior. If in-person outbursts or attacks continue, this will be considered disturbing the peace and the authorities will be summoned. Everyone beside the speaker or presenter will stay muted throughout the meeting. After each presentation is over, I will inquire if committee members have questions. Committee members will signify that they have a question by pressing the raised hand button on your screen or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. Members of the public who have joined through the online link will be able to ask questions. No, I'm sorry, I have to take that out. Members of the public will not be able to ask questions. This is the executive committee meeting unless given special permission. Only those recognized by the chair of the committee will be allowed to speak during the allotted time. We will stay on topic with the agenda items. Any other items will be acknowledged by the chair in new business or addressed at the next meeting, granted there is time and the committee agrees on the topic. Following the question, discussion, or the committee will begin their discussions after each presentation or agenda item and will conclude with the decision to vote on a recommendation. When the agenda is finished, the meeting will be adjourned. If there are any questions related to the meeting software or our process, please use the chat function or raise hand function now or contact our assistant district manager. Okay. We can move on from there. I will go with attendance to begin with. Okay, can you share with me the host so I can put up the attendance?
Yes, you got
Okay,
it.
go ahead.
Let me give you. All right, you should be able to share now.
Okay. All right. Barbara Stronzer is present. Eric Asensio. Eric. Betty Arce. Betty. Yahira Arias.
Yahira Arias present.
Thank you. Michelle Avila. Michelle. Andrew Leosa.
Andrew Leosa present.
Thank you. Laura Zacosta.
Maurice Acosta present.
Thank you. Edgar Ramos.
Edgar Ramos present.
Thank you. Chad Royer.
Chad Royer present.
Thank you. Victor Saldana. Victor. And Ruth Caraballo.
Ruth Caraballo present.
Thank you. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We do have a quorum. Good. All right. From there, we'll move on to the minutes from last month's meeting. All right, that was January 19th. I'll scroll down slowly. We had the district manager's report. Okay, and then we had information regarding cannabis, and from there we went to some information on the Kingsbridge Armory, the chairperson's update. All right. The motion was from the Parks and Cultural Affairs Committee regarding the observatory, which will be placed on Goulden Avenue near Bronx High School of Science and Lehman College. We had a few questions, the discussion there. We also had questions about the Marshall Golf Range and our committee reports. Okay. All right, do we have a motion to accept the minutes
I
from
move to
last
accept
month's
the
meeting?
minutes.
Who is that, Lourdes?
Chad.
Okay, and Chad, okay, and do we have a second?
Jahira seconds.
Yaira, okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes from last month?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
aye, anybody else? All right, any nays? Okay, the minutes accepted as presented. All right, we'll move the agenda. We have the district manager's update. Caller, are you on?
Yes, I am on. So just very quickly, due to a viral infection and in an effort to stop the spread, the office staff will be available remotely only the next week. We also have, we're working with the Housing Preservation and Development to host 2 workshops around Housing Connect. An English workshop is scheduled for Saturday, February 25th from 10 a.m. to 12. And the Spanish workshop will be on Wednesday, March 1st from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we're working on a flyer and we'll send it out as soon as is possible. I also attended the Together for Kingsbridge working group last night. And the next public workshop is scheduled for March 18th. The location is yet to be determined. And I am also going to work with them. They're actually opening the Armory for do some site visits, a list of the drill house. So you will be getting an email from me as well in order to schedule that. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And our chairperson, Yahira, do you have an update for us?
Quick little update. Today is my birthday, so I'm going to be doing this report and then I'm getting off because I'm going to dinner with my family. But
happy.
thank you. Just reminder for board members that if you receive your renewal email from the BP's office, please make sure you renew and send it in. Let us know if you need any help. Carla and Jade are more than willing to assist if any issues. The next thing, I've had a few training sessions with the BP's office, more that's to come at the general. And we are looking forward to a lot of projects that are coming into our community that we're definitely going to have to discuss. So more to come in the next couple of weeks, and I will keep everyone posted.
Okay, any questions for Yahira before she takes off to celebrate her big day? No? Okay, have fun.
Happy
Thank
birthday.
you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good meeting. Bye.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to, we have a motion, a couple of motions. We'll start with traffic and transportation. Edgar, you're on.
Good evening. Basically, our motion is a letter of support for DOT to progress on the Grand Concourse from Fordham Road to East 198th Street. Basically, it's just a continuation of the current upgrade that's happening that started back all the way at 149th Street to kind of dress up the concourse and make it a safer pedestrian for pedestrian, bikes, and for the people crossing the street. We have Keith Kalb on the also if there are any questions. But basically what they're gonna keep continuing with what they've been doing south of Fordham Road, north of Fordham Road.
All right, do we have any questions? Do you want to read the motion for us, Edgar, please?
Are you taking questions first or have? or
Well,
reading them?
first read the motion, we'll get it seconded, and then we'll open it to questions.
Got it, thank you.
Okay. What happened? Oh, okay, here's the motion.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Basically, the motion is a letter of support for phase 5 of the Grand Concourse improvement. That's
All right. Do we have a second for Edgar's motion? Somebody?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Lurs. All
Thank you.
right, now we open it to questions.
Yeah, I have a
Go
question.
ahead, Betty.
Who is going to maintain the medians, where I think they're with the improvements, they're putting these, medians with, I think with planters? And I'd like to know who maintains that?
that should be Department of Parks as in previous.
It actually, Edgar, it's actually gonna be our contractor maintaining it.
Is it?
Parks is no longer maintaining the medians.
Okay.
The built-out medians. Hi, good evening, everybody. Keith Kalb, interim Bronx Borough Commissioner, New York City DOT. The medians will be maintained by the city's contractor, by our contractor.
Glad you were here for that.
Yes, yes. All right. Good
Thank you.
question.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for?
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Lurs.
So I guess as a cyclist, I'm happy to know that this has finally reached our part of the district. My only question is, is there any way to accelerate this process? I see that construction starts in September of next year and takes about 3 years to complete. Is there anything that we can do to, I don't know, accelerate the process?
Well, there's a lot of things that impact that, right? Partially it's costs and the fact that things have to be moved in a certain way so as not to impact the neighborhoods. They sometimes give it a longer date than what it is, just in case there are problems, because there's certain times where they can't dig and they can't do things, like when it's snowing, when it's cold. But as we're going through a winter summer now, they normally wouldn't be able to dig now because it would either be freezing or there'd be snow on the ground. But now they're actually able to work and do what they got to do to progress. So they kind of put some of that into the time frame of it, even though it won't hopefully not take as long as predicted. But they're still in the design phase of some of the things that they got to do north of Fordham Road.
Okay, thank you for that, Edgar.
Yep.
All right, any other questions? All right, I think we can take,
DOT can-
excuse me? We can take it for a vote. Eric, did you have a question? No. Okay.
All right, all those in favor? Aye? Or do-
We're gonna
do-
take a vote, okay? You
Oh.
hold on a minute, please. Okay. Okay, what, thank you. All right, I'll share. And then- Okay, the motion is to support phase 5 of the improvements along the Grand Concourse. We'll start. All right, Barbara Stronza votes yes. Eric Asensio,
Eric Asensio votes yes.
thank you. Betty Arce. Betty,
Yes, yes, I approve.
thank you.
And I'm present. Please put me as present.
Okay, I will correct it.
Thank you.
Michelle Avila, I don't think she came in. Okay. Andrew Leosa,
Andrew Leosa supports the motion.
thank you. Loris Acosta,
Loris Acosta approves.
thank you. Edgar Ramos,
Edgar Ramos supports the motion.
thank you. Chad Royer,
Chad Royer approves.
thank you. Victor Saldana? No. Not here. Ruth Caraballo,
Ruth Caraballo supports the motion.
thank you. All right, the motion carries. Thank you, Edgar. All right, we'll move on to,
Thank you.
and thank
I
you,
just-
DOT,
I just
for
want to thank
coming and joining
Keith real
us.
quick before he leaves. I think he
Yes,
already left.
thank
No,
you.
no, I'm here. I'm
Okay,
here. I was
thank you
gonna
so
shut my
much.
camera off,
Yeah,
Oh,
so I
okay.
wasn't distracting you.
Yeah, but no, thank you for being on.
Yes.
No
we
problem,
Appreciate that. Take care.
Bye,
All
everybody. Have a good night.
All
And happy
right,
birthday, Yahaira. I think she already dropped off, but
all right, next item, well, we have 2 items coming up from Budget, Personnel, and Ethics. Andrew?
Yes, we do have 2 motions. I don't know how to, the motions on the screen. Oh, good, okay, you're doing, somebody's doing that. Yeah, it's displayed on the screen.
Okay,
And in following the Bronx Community Board 7 bylaws regarding attendance requirements, there were 2 board members found to be in violation of the requirements for attendance. And the first board member, and the first motion is for board member Adeline Walker Santiago. And do you want me to read it, or I guess, yeah, I have to read it. Okay.
you have to
Recommended
read it, and we need a second to the motion after he reads it. Go ahead, Andrew.
Send an attendance violation letter to board member Adeline Walker Santiago found to have violated the board's attendance requirements.
All right.
Background, violation of Article 3, Section 4 of Bronx Community Board 7 bylaws. Links, there's a link there to our bylaws. Rationale for recommendation, attendance records reflect a violation of the attendance requirements. Timing, motion published in accordance with time requirements. Prior action, none. Future actions, if the motion passes the executive committee and full board, notification will be delivered to the board member. Committee voted unanimously to pass this motion.
Okay, do we have a second for Andrew's motion, please? Do we have a second?
Second that.
Okay, thank you, Edgar. Any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So Adeline, she has not missed one of our committee meetings all year. So is this referring to only the general?
Good question.
So our Bronx Community Board 7 bylaws regarding attendance is fairly clear. Some people get a little confused. Basically, the rule is any 3 consecutive missed meetings. So, for example, I happen to be one of in the elected positions. So as a result, I am, well, and also committee chairpersons are required to attend executive board meetings, in addition to general board meetings, in addition to, if they're chairperson of a committee, that committee meeting. So any combination of 3 consecutive meetings is in violation of the bylaws. Another example would be, for some reason, in a 2-week time period, your committee's meeting, the executive board is meeting, and the monthly board meeting, it takes place in that 2-week window of time. You happen to have won contests and you got an all expenses paid cruise to Hawaii for 2 weeks, and that was the only 2 weeks you could take it. Well, you missed those 3 meetings and you were in violation of the attendance. And of course, you would then appeal to the board and say, whatever, I was out, I missed these 3 meetings because blah, 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 blah. It won't happen again. I intend to, devote my attention to the board and have, a stellar attendance record, and, and that would be the end of it. So that's the issue. So it's any 3 consecutive. So it is a little tricky in that you have to find a language to put into the Community Board 7 bylaws that also addresses this other scenario, which is technically I can attend every single executive board meeting, every single general board meeting, and not attend any single committee meeting, and that the current bylaws could be interpreted to infer that it's 3 consecutive meetings as opposed to 3 consecutive, say, committee meetings. You understand what I'm saying? It's hard to, I haven't found anyone who can verbally take into account those situations. Maybe we just need to put an example. So it's not just 3 consecutive meetings, it could be 3 committee meetings. And also besides that, we have in the bylaws that you can't miss more than 50% of the meetings. So it can't be, you go to 2 meetings and you miss 1. Then you go to 2 meetings, you miss 1. You go to 2 meetings, you miss 1. It can't, we can't allow that either. So sorry for the long-winded explanation. If anybody has any suggestions how to clear.
Wait, so Andrew, I'm sorry, just to clarify. So in this case, is the attendance into question for the general board? Because like I said, she hasn't missed a single committee meeting this year.
Yes, Lori, so the attendance are a reflection of the general board meetings.
Yeah.
But then, come to think of it, I don't think the way we have it worded is correct then. If we're going to send out notices for someone who didn't miss 3 consecutive meetings that they were supposed to be at, if Lori says she was at all the parks meetings, but that's my opinion. Okay, Betty, your hand is up, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that we had talked about this prior, last year, the year before. And I think we had in the bylaws that we were clear that it was a combination. I think we streamlined it by saying 3 consecutive meetings. But what we meant was it was a combination of general and committee meetings. So yes, a person could possibly attend all committee meetings and never attend a general board meeting. Or if they're on the executive board, you know, miss those meetings. So I think that we probably will need to go back and kind of like finesse that a little bit.
Right, it's, I think many of us feel that it's 3 consecutive meetings going from committee to general to
Right.
committee to general. And this is not what I'm hearing from Lori's. If she's been.
No,
at
so
committee
the
meetings.
the way we did the attendance, we do it for a period of time. So in this instance, it was the meetings from November all the way to it was September all the way to December.
Okay.
Mhm.
So whoever had 3 or more absences during that time period was flagged.
Oh, see, that's not the way we meant to interpret it. We had said 3 consecutive meetings. All right, Chad, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I might have missed if this was mentioned, but was a letter. Did Adeline Walker Santiago respond to the letter? Or
Oh,
correspondence or no?
I don't think the letter has gone out as yet, Chad. This is what we're voting on.
Yeah, we're
Oh.
voting, the letter can't go out until a motion comes from the committee. Then that motion, if it is passed by the executive board, and then if it is passed by the general board, then the letter can go out. And just to backtrack a little, a person could clearly make a case that the language in our current bylaws does address the issue of 3 consecutive meetings or in combination of committee, exec, and general board. So I'm just thinking that there has to be a way to make it abundantly clear to anybody exactly what we mean.
Right.
So I was just thinking about what you had mentioned. What if we mentioned if anyone misses 3 consecutive committee meeting, 3 consecutive assigned committee meetings?
Okay, I think right now that has to go to the bylaws committee if we're gonna change anything like that. So maybe we can bring that up at the next bylaws committee meeting. Andrew, you proposed the motion. Did someone second it? Can we have a second and then we can vote? Somebody?
I thought somebody seconded already.
Edgar already seconded.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Any other questions before we take it to a vote?
I thought we
So yeah,
voted.
real quick, will the letter specify which dates?
Excuse me?
Sorry.
Would you repeat that, Loris, please?
Yeah, will the letter specify which dates it's referring to?
I would assume so. Andrew, would the letter state the dates
No,
of?
we have never done that, and we're not about to do that. I don't know how else to put it. If they want to make a case and dispute, that's their prerogative. That's not something that we've done in the past. And if they feel that there's something in error, then it's up to them to bring it up. Sort of like,
Okay, thank you, just asking, thank you.
as a
Okay.
professor, it's not my job to inform my students whether or not they have attended. That's on them. I keep my records and, yeah.
All right. Are we ready to vote? Any other questions? Okay. Okay, the motion's on the floor, whether or not to send this letter to Adeline Walker Santiago. I'm thoroughly confused, so I'm voting no. And I believe that since she has come to all her committee meetings. There's been somewhat of a misinterpretation of what the bylaws read. All right, Eric Asensio,
I'm going to abstain.
okay. Betty Arce,
I vote yes.
thank you. Michelle Avila. Andrew Laosa,
Andrew Leosa supports the motion.
thank you. Larissa Costa,
Larissa Costa votes no.
thank you. Edgar Ramos,
Edgar Ramos supports the motion.
thank you. Chad Royer,
Chad Roy abstains from the motion.
all right. Victor Saldana, Ruth Caraballo,
Ruth votes no.
okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, we have a tie.
Then the motion doesn't carry. If it's
No, it doesn't carry. All right, so we'll stop the share at that point. Andrew, do you want to present your next motion?
Yeah, it's basically the same verbiage, a different board member, but I have to read it for the record.
Go ahead.
Board member Yenny Medina. Recommended action motion to notify a board member found to have violated the attendance requirements. Background, in violation of Article 3, Section 4, Bronx CB7 bylaws. There's a link that's put on the motion that links to the bylaws. Rationale for recommendation, attendance records reflect the violation of the attendance requirements. Timing, motion was published in accordance with time requirements. Prior action, none. Future actions, if the motion passes the executive committee and full board, notification will be made to the board member. It was unanimously passed by the committee.
Okay, any questions? Well, do we have a second for the motion? Somebody?
Second the motion.
Thank you, Edgar. All right, any questions for Andrew?
Do we know if this person attended their committee meetings? Because I think that's also important to consider.
Okay, Ruth has a question there. Andrew, has the person been at the committee meetings?
I do not have the records in front of me. The staff people provided the information to the committee. The committee reviewed the records, and the committee voted unanimously to support sending a letter to this board member.
All right, did the board member show up to anything? I mean, that's important for us to know.
If the executive board or other board members have a standard where they need all the details in the future, then I will be certain to provide that information. I would hope that out of respect to the committee members, just like other committees, that board members would give the latitude that they give to other committees and vote on motions without having specific details, but so be it.
Well, is the committee chair for this person's committee present? That we could ask if the individual has been attending meetings?
Can you repeat who this one? I have unstable connection, so I missed the name of this motion, this person.
Yenny's Molina, is it Yenny's?
Yenny Medina, right?
Yenny Medina, yes.
Yes, so she's also in my committee, and she's another one who has yet to, she's been at all my our committee meetings this year. So she has yet to miss a single committee meeting for
She's
the
been
education youth.
She's
She's
been to
every
all
single
your
one.
meetings?
Yes.
Okay, we have a couple of hands up. Chad, go ahead, and then Betty.
Yeah, a repeat question. I guess I'm assuming that a letter wasn't sent. A letter wasn't sent prior, right?
No, we're voting tonight whether or not
Okay.
to send a letter.
Okay. Okay.
All right?
That's it.
Betty, go ahead.
Yeah, I really think we need to go back to the board on this one and straighten this out. I have a problem with first of all, I think it's important to have the stats because this is affecting a colleague. This is not like other motions. So I think we need to have that information just to be clear. I also have a problem with that we don't support, that we think that it's okay for a committee member to attend board members to attend just their committee meetings and not come to general board meetings, which I think is really as important as attending committee meetings. And I'll just leave it at that. So if this is coming up, I'm gonna vote yes, because I think people need to come. They have to be held responsible for what they signed up for as a board member and not just coming to committee meetings. Everything's on Zoom, so there's no excuse for not being able to attend at least some of the board meetings. And I'll leave it at that.
Hi, everyone. So I was just looking at our records, and in September, both board members missed the general board meeting. In October, both of them missed the general board meeting. In November, Adeline Walker Santiago missed the general board meeting. And in December, Jenny Medina missed the general board meeting. And those are the 3 absences that we have accounted for them for the period from September 2022 to December 2022.
All right, any other questions or comments? Okay, I think we're ready to vote then.
What's on the board here? I'm sorry.
These are the general meetings,
Oh, okay, this is the actual records. Okay,
record for
This
general
is the
meetings,
spreadsheet that we keep, yes.
okay. got it.
September, October, November, okay, and here it is. Okay, February. Have they been coming since? Can you give us any information there?
So I don't think we have yet the attendance from the general board meeting from January, but I can definitely look at those records and get back to you.
All right, we have
On
another
that.
hand. Eric, go ahead.
So when Larry says that she has been attending the meetings this year, he means 2023 or he means the board year from September to December?
Yeah, I mean,
No, so, yeah.
sorry.
Sorry, Larry. So based on our
Okay.
records, they both have been attending their committee meetings. There's no absences for that. Their absences that we have accounted for are from them being absent from the general board meeting.
All right, Eric, you wanted to add anything? I see your hand is still up.
No, that was just.
Oh, you're okay? All right, any other questions? Okay, then we're ready to vote.
Oh, Chad has a hand up, Barbara.
Okay.
No, it's a mistake.
Oh, he didn't take
Okay,
it down.
never mind.
Okay. Well, at this point, I don't feel I can vote yes for one and no for the other, being that their attendance is so similar. I feel strongly that we need to clarify this. So I'll vote no again to be consistent. Eric Asensio.
I think I'm gonna abstain as well.
Okay. Thank you. Betty Arce.
I support the motion.
Thank you. Andrew Leosa,
Andrew Leosa supports the motion.
Lori Acosta,
Hey, I just want to share that Betty, you made a great point earlier, but given the wording and confusing nature of the motion, I'm going to vote no.
no? Okay,
Correct.
thank you. Edgar Ramos,
Edgar Ramos supports the motion
thank you.
to be consistent.
Okay. Chad Royer,
Chad Royer is going to abstain from this motion.
thank you. Victor Saldana, in, and Ruth Caraballo,
Votes no.
thank you. 1, 2, 3. The motion is tied again, so it doesn't carry. All right, that's something we certainly need to clarify at bylaws. Okay, we'll move on. We have our statement of needs for facility, city facilities. Carla, do you want to put it up?
Yes.
Okay, if you could, that would be great. And I believe there are 3 that, or 4 actually, that pertain to our community board.
Mhm.
All right, so the first one, I believe, is related to therapeutic units at North Central Bronx Hospital. All right, it's a new proposal. All right. I believe it's page 21, if we could take a look at that.
Okay, hold on.
21
Page
and
21.
22, we can look at a couple and then we'll move on to 42 and 44.
Okay, I found it.
You got it, okay. All right, this has been requested by no,
This is the Department of Correction.
yes, but I don't know if this is it. Yes, it is, okay, and actually what they want to do is to set up units for the incarcerated on the 13th through the 16th floor of North Central Bronx Hospital. All right. Okay, so if you can take a look, this is not something we have to vote on, correct, Carla? We just are aware of the fact that they're going to do this?
Right, and if you have any comments or additional questions or anything else of that matter, you can send those comments to me via email. I'll put my email in the chat and I will compile all of these comments or any questions, and I will send that over to Department of City Planning. And I can also share the information of where you can yourself submit comments if you don't want to send them through the community board.
Okay, and it looks like there are 84 incarcerated individuals. That would be the maximum that would be using this facility. All right, any questions, comments? If you have anything now, or if you think of something later on, you certainly can send it to Carla and she will inquire for you as to what can be done about it, or, you know, what the answer would be.
Can I ask that if we could have whatever board member sends questions or whatever, can we then get back like, clarification so that we all know what the questions were, if nothing is going to be followed up today, right now?
Okay.
Yeah, we can definitely, once I get all the questions and comments, I can definitely share that that document as a hyperlink for a follow-up at the
Okay.
next.
Okay, does anybody
meeting.
know if the Department of Corrections already has any floors at this hospital? Because I recall this coming up a couple of years ago, and the community being very upset around North Central. And I was just wondering what happened then, or is this something they're presenting a second time? All right, okay, no comments, all right, can we move on to the,
I had my
oh wait,
hand up.
Andrew, go ahead.
Yeah. We have a sense of what level of crime the people are being accused of. I know it's a jail, not a prison, but do we know what level of crime these individuals, is it everything? Are these, everything from a shoplifter to somebody accused of, mass murder? I mean, I don't see anything in there about that. I also would like to know security. I mean, if it's a jail, then it should be secured, and those floors should not be open to the public. And if you look on the top of that, near the top, it says public-facing facility, yes. Clients or members of the public would use or have open access to this facility? I mean, I don't understand that. I know I walked to Rikers Island, so can that be clarified? I don't understand that.
I would guess, Andrew, that by that they mean family of these hospitalized, incarcerated people would be able to come, but I would think they would do something with having special elevators for them to use rather than, I just don't understand this. All right, these are some questions maybe, Carla, that you could note and get us some answers regarding.
Yes, I'll definitely follow up with some of the questions.
Yes.
And
any other questions on this? I see your hand, Chad.
Yes, I guess my question is, when and how was the public notified of the plan?
Well, I guess here it is.
yeah,
It's a new proposal, right? And it hasn't gone into effect. It's for the year 24-25.
I remember this coming before the board.
Yes.
It was mentioned about 2 years ago.
That's right. This came up before. This was discussed, and not only the board, but the public in general.
Yes.
Yes.
And they weren't happy about it. And then we didn't hear anything anymore.
But what I'm concerned about is, how was the public notified? Was it press conference? Was it newspaper? Was it on the news?
I recall it at a general meeting of the community board that it was raised and the public came and had complaints and whatever.
Yeah, because it came up during one of the things we were talking about, the parking lot, because they wanted to take away the metered parking and give the metered parking to direct Department of Corrections. That's how it got presented to us.
Okay.
Okay, so if having said all this, if there was no other way of presenting this to the public, that's the concern that I have, because you're not going to get everyone in the neighborhood, because not everyone is involved in these public spaces.
Right.
That's what I'm leaning toward. That would be my question to bring forth.
Okay. All right, if there's any other questions, please put them in the chat and Carla will follow up. Okay, we can move on to the next one, Carla, please. I believe it might be page 2. That was. Okay, this is the one relating to the Department of Sanitation. They're looking to relocate the sanitation garage for Community District 7 and 8. I believe it's currently over in Manhattan someplace.
Yeah.
West 215th Street. All right, and they're looking for a new garage. So I don't think anybody has too many objections against that. I mean, if it's covering 7 and 8, certainly it would help to have the garage in, you know, a closer location. Any questions on that one? Chad, your hand is up. Do you have a question or?
No, I don't.
Okay. Yeah. All right, we can move on then, Carla. I believe we have 2 left. I believe the next one
Yes.
is the Job Center on Bainbridge Avenue. This is located directly opposite what was the Fordham Public Library, the old library. And it's a center used as a job center and also, I believe, human, resources also uses it. And they have outgrown their facility and they are too looking for a new site. Any questions?
No.
No? Okay. Betty, no? All
No.
right, we'll move on then, the last one. All right, and this refers to Fordham Landing where they have the tow pound. And they too are looking to find another site. The tow pond is located there, well, for the Bronx, and I don't know if this has anything to do with the master plans for the buildings they want to put up, but they're looking to move the site. Any questions? All right. So we don't have to approve or disapprove, it's just put up here so that if we have any questions, staff will certainly follow up and see if they can get some answers.
Well, part of it, just so people know, part of the reason for that going on is because they're supposed to be changing they're supposed to be building a correctional facility, right? And the location that they picked for the correctional facility is over by like 140th Street, what used to be the tow pound, right? So they took all the cars out of there. They've already started excavation to build that jail because they're supposed to put one in every borough except for Staten Island. And that's the location that they picked. They had originally picked one on the other side of the Bruckner, but because Related Properties wants to use all that because it's waterfront property, they moved it to where the tow pound used to be. And now they don't have anywhere to put cars when they tow them in the Bronx, which is why they started using the facility at Fordham Landing.
Oh, well, I see. So they're trying to move that out then also.
No, they're using that as a temporary location since it's
Right.
open space, but nobody knows where there's space to put a tow pound right now.
Oh, no, there's so much building going on throughout the borough. It's very difficult.
Right.
Okay, thank you for that update, Edgar.
Uh-huh.
All right, I believe we can move the agenda. The next item refers to the Rose Hill Park newsstand. Do we have anyone on from Parks that would like to discuss this?
Hi, everyone. My name is Alex Hahn. I'm the Chief of Concessions for New York City Parks.
Oh, welcome. Go ahead, Alex.
Well, I think we were invited to attend and in the event that the committee members had any questions for us. So that's what we're here for. Maybe I could just start by giving a little bit of a background. The current agreement with the operator is expiring soon. And this is the first step of our process to issue a new competitive request for bids for the next term of the agreement. And so that was the notice that was sent over to the community board.
All right. And this individual, I'm sure many of us saw the information on TV, on Channel 12 and whatever. How long has this individual been at this site? Do you know, Alex?
The current agreement that he has was a 3-year permit, and he won that through an RFB, a request for bids, competitive process we did back in 2019. And prior to 2019, he was the concessionaire for the prior term, which was, I think, anywhere between 3 and 5 years. And that was also done through a competitive request for bid process. Many years ago, when I started with Parks, I want to say in 2007, there was a different operator there. And then when their term expired, we did a bid, and that's when this operator had come in.
All right, interesting. So this term would be for an additional 3 years.
It's a potential 5-year term, so it's 3 years plus two optional years.
Okay. All right. Any questions? We have a couple of questions. Betty, go ahead, and then Andrew.
Good evening. Alex, will the current vendor be able to submit for this bid, can bid for this site as well?
Anybody who's interested in operating a newsstand would be able to bid on this, including, the current operator.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
And Andrew?
Actually, 2 questions. One is, I don't know if it's like these hot dog stands where I get the permit and I go out and hire somebody else and I pay them way below minimum wage to run the concession, but my name technically is the person who is supposed to operate that facility. Is it the same thing with parks? You just, issue the permit in the person's name and never see or hear from them again, and they hire somebody else to run it? So that's my first question.
Should I answer now, or do you want to ask the other one, your next question?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
No problem. So the parks concession agreements are actually very unique in terms of how they work. Now, what you're describing sounds like what I've heard about, the other food cart permits outside of the parks. There's been, what's been reported in the news, and as being a black market for these permits. And the reason that this type of market, exists in part is because if you get one of those permits, and it's not a concession agreement, it's not done through a competitive process. If your number comes up on the list to be awarded a permit because somebody does not renew their old permit, then you're entitled to that permit, and you never lose that permit as long as you continue to renew it. And so there's a value to being able to just continue to renew your permit indefinitely. And so in those cases, you can sort of say, okay, I pay $200 to the city for my permit and I get a 2-year permit out of it. And that's renewable in the next 2 years. So you can then, put that permit on the black market, so to speak, and, get an even higher fee, maybe market rate fee for that permit. And then and then you continue to hold the value because you continue to renew it. In the case of parks concession agreements, there's a set expiration date. And so after that permit expires, we're gonna put it out to the street again to a competitive market for the next term. And so there's no guarantee that the incumbent is going to be the operator over the next contract term. So it's a little different, and it's done competitively. So people are actually offering bidding fees in hopes that the high bidder, that you're the high bidder and you get the permit. And so I'm not sure what the margin is to do something like that on a black market if you're already, paying more than just an administrative renewal fee.
Thank you. The second question is, I've noticed that all these vendors use gas generators, which anyone who looks into it understands that they are horrific polluters of the air. Those engines are very inefficient. My question is this structure wired directly to the electrical grid, or will it be operated with a gas generator?
So your first point, I totally agree with you, and we're constantly looking at ways to improve that and provide a cleaner and more efficient source and more sustainable source of power, wherever it's appropriate. But park spaces can be unique sometimes because you're dealing with trees and grass and things like that, where it's not like a light post right off the sidewalk where you can just have running electric. And most electric are running along the streets; they're not really running through the parks. In this case, though, because the newsstand is located on the perimeter of the park, it is wired to electric, and there is no generator needed for the operation of that newsstand.
All right, we'll move on. Edgar, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. Wasn't this, didn't this site become a problem because they're looking to no longer keep it as a newsstand, right? Isn't there talks of converting it to a rest stop for delivery people?
So it was considered as a potential location, and we issued a notice about this to CB7 back in December. There were, the group that we were working with in that notice called Los Deliveristas Unidos. They're a collection, it's almost like a union that represents these delivery workers because they're not employees of these, app-based services. And so this is a LDU sort of, they advocate on behalf of these delivery workers. And, we thought this was a very noble project, and this would be a pilot. And this would be the first ever, anywhere that we can think of in the country, in New York City, sort of, the city stepping in to help these workers who helped everybody so much especially over the last few years in the pandemic. LDU looked at that. They have actually federal funding through a grant that they won for this pilot. After looking into this location, they determined that this was not one of the big priority sites for them, and they did not have the funding at this time. After looking at the other sites they were looking at, they didn't have enough money to spread that all around, and so they decided to focus on 2 sites in Manhattan, but this was originally the 3rd site.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So it sounds like we will have a newsstand back there.
Yes.
Great.
I can't promise, a specific outcome because this is a competitive process, but certainly, everything is fair. Anyone that's interested in operating here will have the opportunity to do so, including the current operator.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for Alex? All right. You'll keep us posted as to who gets the permit to operate there. When will
Yes.
that be decided? Do you know?
We'll issue a competitive bid in the next few weeks. That's the plan. And then we actually hold a public bid opening. And that's going to be virtual as well, just like these meetings. And so we will, of course, tell you who won after the bid is completed. But if anybody's interested in attending, that's also a public, kind of thing, and you can attend that as well. And you'll find out as the bid is open who the high bidder is.
Would help if you could send the information for that to our staff.
When we issue the RFB, we'll make sure that you have the login information to join that bid opening if you'd like.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll move the agenda. Next, we have the proposed new location for the Link New York City kiosk. Carla, can you put that up? Please.
One moment.
Okay.
Go. Let me see. While I find it, comments for this proposed new location are due on March 3rd.
Okay.
So if you have any. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, wait, hold on.
What happened?
Not sure what happened.
Okay, we have the letter.
Mhm.
All right, and they are asking for comments regarding the site by March 5th.
Yes.
All right. Okay,
Is there a particular site?
yes, there is a picture. Do you have the picture, Carla?
Yes, give me,
Okay, it's right outside of, is it Norwood Terrace?
Oh,
The
okay.
new apartment building, up on the corner of Webster and Gun Hill Road.
Okay, all right, I just, no, all right.
No, she'll put it up so everybody can see where it is.
mhm. Sorry, everyone, these hyperlinks are
That's all right, take your time.
not trying to work for me today. Okay, so I found a picture on their website of how it would look like.
Mhm.
It's the one without this, without the screen.
Okay,
So it'll be the one on the left.
So what exactly, the one without the screen, okay.
Mhm.
oh, right here.
Okay,
Okay,
here.
Yeah, I see it.
all right.
So what exactly, just so people will be able to make calls on this? There's one on Webster further down on 205th Street, so I'm assuming it's the same kind. You can make calls, you can charge your phone, right? You can-
Right,
Right.
That kind of.
And I believe you connect to their Wi-Fi as well.
Right, you can connect there, okay. all right.
and it will be on the west side of Webster Avenue, right along the bus stop there in front of the fairly new housing that went up on that corner,
Okay, on that side, okay.
which is a good spot. Okay, thank you, Carla. All right, any questions on or concerns about that? No, I think it's a good location. It's a very busy location right there at Gun Hill Road.
And if any questions come up later, just also you may send them to me by March 5th, by noon preferably.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to committee reports. Andrew, we'll start with you, Budget, Personnel, and Ethics.
The committee met to entertain complaints made by board members and especially committee chair people regarding attendance issues and lack of quorum. The committee reviewed the attendance records provided by the board staff, and the committee voted unanimously to send attendance letters to two board members, Jenny Medina and Adeline Walker Santiago, and that motion will go in front of the executive board for a vote. If it's voted up, it will go to the general board. That's it.
Andrew, when is your next meeting? Because you had said that in March you were planning to meet since there were some questions about our internal budget.
We did not select a date at the last committee meeting. We will do so shortly.
Okay, so you will let us know then?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, it will be March though, correct?
Yes. Oh,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Okay, that's good. All right, Education, Youth, and Libraries, Lurie's.
I don't think he's on.
Okay, anybody from the Education Committee who can report on the last meeting? No? Okay, we'll move on then to Environment and Sanitation, Betty.
We canceled the meeting because we didn't have agency reps coming and we're securing their commitment to be at our March meeting.
Okay, thank you. Health and Human Services, Michelle isn't with us, but is there anybody from the committee who would like to report? I believe they're scheduled for a meeting next week. All right, we'll move on then to Parks and Recreation. We had a representative from the Parks Department state that they were going to use the open area near the skate park for setting up 2 pickleball courts. Pickleball has become very popular, especially with the seniors. And this is a space that is used primarily for pickup games. So they're planning to put up 2 nets and hope to have it done by the end of the spring. And it will be an in-house procedure, so it should not take too long. And there's still enough room at that site for other activities. In addition to the Parks Department, we also had a presentation from the American Institute of Architects and the American Society of Landscape Architects. They are a not-for-profit group that was invited to Marshall Parkway by the Friends of Marshall Parkland to interview people and look at the sites and decide and ask residents what they would like to see along Marshall Parkway in regard to a rehabilitation project. So they had interviewed about 150 people, and they're still working on this. They plan to meet with the Department of Transportation and the Parks Department, and I asked that they report back to our Parks Committee when they come up with some suggestions for the parkway. All right, our next meeting will be the 2nd Wednesday of the month. And also I want to make mention that a week from Saturday is the annual Bronx Park Speak Up, which is held at Lehman College. It's an all-day event from 11 to 5. If you are a park lover, feel free to go. It is free. All right, next we have housing. Oh, I'm sorry, housing. I skipped over you. Land use and economic development. Sorry, Eric, you're on.
No problem, Barbara. So we had the meeting on Tuesday, this past Tuesday, and we had a presentation from the 2 buildings on 202 and 203, which are now called the Bronx Grove. And they have their application open on HPD Connect. We're going to be hosting the staff along with HPD, 2 housing clinics, 1 in English and 1 in Spanish on February 25th and March 1st for people to learn to apply via HPD Connect for this particular project and for all the projects that come into the HPD Connect system. We also got a visit from EDC in regards to the last workshop at the Kingsbridge Armory. And as Carla mentioned, the next public workshop will be March 18 for that. And our next meeting will be March 14.
Okay, thank you, Eric. All right, we'll move on to public safety, quality of life. Victor isn't on tonight. Is there anybody?
I have a question in
Oh,
reference.
go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand up. Go ahead.
It's okay. I'm just curious, have we ever gotten anything from that project in reference to local hires? And aren't we also waiting the same thing for the project by the Bronx?
Eric?
Yes, we did mention that to them. So I'm going to work with the staff to follow up on that, on those requests.
Yeah. No, we had the fair. And that's where it ends.
Oh, Edgar, you froze there for a while.
Yeah.
But basically, they keep talking about how they had their fair, but never discussed the results of the fair. We had the fair. Oh, but we had the fair. Oh, but we had the fair.
Yeah,
That
you're
doesn't
right.
tell us anything, you know? I'm sorry, that's just, you know, they keep saying, as long as we're working with them with everything else and getting their approvals, they're fine with us. But when we ask for stuff, they're not responsive. So I don't get that.
Yeah, so just like Eric said before you you came back, Edgar, we are going to follow up with all these projects just so we can get some data as to at least the zip codes or the people that were hired. And where is that?
Okay, sounds good. Why not? All right, any other questions? All right, we'll move on then to,
Oh, you have another hand.
oh, okay, Andrew, go ahead.
Sorry, last minute. So what I'm concerned about is, like, we tend to get into little categories. So, you know, housing committee, new development. I want to make it abundantly clear that this new, very large development on 203rd Street between Marshall Parkway and Valentine is, you know, literally a half a block away from the public shooting that took place in broad daylight, approximately 3 p.m. a couple days ago. And I would like the developers of this housing to perhaps be aware of this, the ongoing situation on that corner, which is a well-known drug location. And I'd like to see that developer, which is a nonprofit, maybe sit down with NYPD and their own security to see whatever pressure assistance they can provide to us as a community board to get this problem taken care of before more innocent people get caught up in the violence.
Andrew, that's an excellent idea. I agree with you 100%. It's more than a troublesome area, and it has to be safe for the new tenants moving into those buildings. So maybe Carla can follow up with the not-for-profit that is running the buildings and see if there can be a sit-down with the police department.
Right, absolutely. The staff will follow up on that.
Very good. Thanks, Andrew. All right, we'll move on. Public safety, quality of life. Is there anybody from that committee? No? Traffic and transportation, Edgar?
Yeah, DOT made their presentation in reference to the phase 5 of the Grand Concourse. I guess we tried to clarify a few things with Webb Avenue and stop signs and all the stuff that's going on over there. So hopefully we can get some of that clarified. Only because there's been a lot of requests, a lot of stuff going on in that area, and just to see what's being approved and what's not. So hopefully March's meeting will go well. It's March 2nd. So I hope to see everyone there.
Okay, thank you, Edgar. Veterans Affairs, Chad?
Yes, good evening. So we had at our veterans meeting, we had a representative from the VA. They want to do a mental health research study where they reach out to veterans for compensation so that they can help do research regarding those who have suffered any kind of head injuries during their time. They put out information to share with the veterans at large. They are going to keep the medical information safe and anonymous for the benefit of the veterans, and they want to try to move forth with some medical advances. We also had Luis Sortero from Lehman College Veteran Program. He introduced, or rather I'll say reintroduced, the college veteran program to the board, and we look to do some more collaborations down the line. This is actually the second school in 2 months that we were successful in reaching out to. We also have a representative from the Bronx Historical Society discuss some of the things that they do. And there is a big ask that we're going to present to the community in the future. How can we get any kind of military related or veteran related history to be implanted in the Bronx by way of social stories, interviews, artifacts, documents, whatever have you. And we hope to get some more traction as the months go on. And we also had someone from Project Welcome Home Troops come to share what they can do for veterans who are in need of any kind of mental health assistance. Our next meeting is going to be March 15th. The committee also has a direction where they're looking to do, could you turn that down, please? Sorry. We're looking to do our resource, our Veterans Fair in May or June. We're looking to do a Saturday, and we would like to at least find out the possibilities of doing it indoors. So that's where we are right now with the committee.
Okay.
I'm
Any
sorry about
questions,
that noise.
Chad? All right, thank you, Chad.
You're welcome.
We'll move on to ad hoc bylaws. I don't
Just,
think-
just real quick.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry not to interrupt. But real quick, to Chad's point, I mean, the Bronx Historical Society that has that house right by the Oval, where we've had meetings before, and that you know, there's history back to when George Washington slept there. You know, as funny as that is, you know, he actually did, right? And there is a lot of history there, but it's a forgotten resource, you know, unfortunately. But a lot of that information you might be looking for, Chad, they might be able to provide from there.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, we'll move on to ad hoc bylaws. I believe there's a meeting next week. Myrna isn't on, however. All right, then we'll move on to the ad hoc DM screening committee. Michelle isn't on either. Anything to report, Andrew? I know you're on that committee.
No, I do not have
Okay.
anything to report.
Thank you. All right, follow up from our previous meeting. Anybody want to bring anything up? Our next meeting is scheduled for March 16th. Any items for the agenda that you would like to bring up tonight? No. All right, then can I have a motion to close this meeting?
Barbara, before you go.
Yes, go ahead.
General question, does anyone, I don't have my calendar in front of me. Do we know when the next general meeting will be for February?
It's not
The
next.
28th,
What is it?
February 28th.
28th.
Okay,
It's not
Gotcha.
next Tuesday, the Tuesday after, because we have an extra Tuesday in the month.
got you. Thanks for the
Got it?
clarification.
Okay. Do we have a motion to close this meeting?
And I move to close the meeting.
Okay, and do we have a second? A second?
Second.
Thank you. I thank everybody for your participation and your help, and have a good evening.
All right, good night, folks.